First movie out the gate for 2025. Let's go. The Dam, directed by Thorder Palsson. I apologize for butchering his name. I'm pretty sure I just did. He's some kind of Scandinavian. Iceland is where he is from, which makes sense because a good chunk of this movie is wrapped up in Nordic mythology. Eva is a widow who now is in control of her husband's fishing station. Well, her and the crew are somewhere up north fishing where there's all sorts of snow and it's cold and it doesn't seem to be going so well. Well, one day as they're getting the boat ready to go fish, they see a shipwreck across the way. They witness the ship sinking and they are contemplating, should we or should we not help this, situation? Or should we just leave it alone? Well, Eva's in charge and she decides to not help them out. Their resources are very thin and there's not much they can do. So instead they decide, hey, we're not going to fish today out of respect. And that's where our story kind of begins. Someone's going to ask, did you just spoil it? Nope, everything I just said you can find in the trailer. I need to give y'all like a straight up movie guide every month to let you know what movies are coming out because I imagine you haven't heard of this. I wouldn't have heard of this if I didn't go to the movies as much as I do. I just happened to see the trailer. It was before something. I don't remember what. But it looked to be right up my alley and pretty much is. This is very Robert Eggers-esque. Robert Eggers, who directed Nosferatu, but he also directed The Northman. And what I loved about The Northman is that so much of that movie has very, very dank, dark lighting. So much of it is by candlelight, it seems. And that's pretty much where we are here because this is, 19th century. There's no electricity. They're somewhere, in the middle of the upper Atlantic, somewhere near the Arctic Ocean. So you have a lot of fire, candlelight, lamps, and that's your lighting here. So we're playing games with shadows. We're using shadows really to tell the story. And these, lads plus Eva, they've made this decision to not help this crew. And then things happen and now they're dealing with the consequences of their decisions, so to speak, and by consequences, I mean just that in the way things kind of internalize. Well, as, time goes on, it seems like they may be haunted. And that's where our Nordic mythology comes in as well, because they think it's something called a dragir. Again, forgive me for butchering that. Basically, it's a Nordic zombie. I love how, different cultures have different names for, things we would call something very common in English. A Cajun werewolf is a rougarou. Anyways, yeah, this movie is playing a lot with shadows, using kind of shadows and shapes to really move the story along because, again, as their guilt starts to manifest, they start to hallucinate and they start to see things. Everything's unreliable. Is it really there? Is that, undead corpse that basically this dude, punched in the face and unalived for her sake to save her life? Is this person really undead, so to speak? Are the sounds that we're hearing real? All of a sudden the boys just start going mad and crazy. So we're playing with reality. We're playing with shadows. We're kind of using hallucinations and dreams to tell the story here. Very clever. The movie's actually really good. I was pleasantly surprised. It's barely an hour and a half long, but right up my alley, I would say, because I love when filmmakers use lighting to help tell the story. And I love when we can infuse old mythology into a movie. I don't know. I love a good ghost story. Why am I still tiny? Anyways, so this movie I think is attempting to be a social commentary in that we're talking about, xenophobia a bit, the fear of foreigners, strangers. And also there's some Christian themes in here about, welcoming people and welcoming strangers and whatnot. So there's a little bit of that. I'm not sure how it succeeds there. I think the horror kind of overshadows that a little bit. But I think it's a solid little thriller, not bad for first out the gate, certainly better than last year. I mean, Night Swim was just not good, bless its little heart. But if this is how we're going to open up the year with a scary movie, by all means. There are some flaws, definitely. Some of the scares are just a little repetitive. They kind of work, though. The ending left me feeling incomplete, unresolved. I needed, after that final little shot, that final scene, I'm like, please don't end. I need an explanation. I need to know what happens next. And then it ended, and I was like, well, damn. I wish we had sat with the characters more. It took a minute for me to learn her name, unless they said it and I just missed it. And then, we know the names of the different men in the crew, but the problem is we're introduced to them in the dark. And, my little ring light went out. Anyway, so yeah, we're introduced to them in the dark. And we really don't get time to really put faces to names. We don't really know much about who they are. We start to learn their personalities a bit, and I feel like there are a couple that you kind of attach to a bit, just their personalities. Her kind of right-hand guy, Daniel, I really liked him. I don't know, maybe I thought he was cute. I don't know what it is, but I really liked him. This is his directorial debut. I'm excited to see what comes next for him, especially if he's wanting to incorporate his culture into his filmmaking. I think that's always interesting and attractive. But yeah, solid. I like that. That was fun. It was a good little spooky movie. Aside from like 4 movies getting wide releases in January, so The Last Showgirl, Better Man, The Nicholas and the Brutalist, all 4 are 2024 films that are getting wide releases this month. So aside from those, this might be the best thing to come out of this month. Sorry to say, January is just looking kind of weak, which is sad and irritating. Say a 7.5 out of 10. Not bad. I liked it. That was cool. It was fun. Dark.